So, you know me.
I do. And I believe the idea of today is to let everybody else find a bit more about you.
Hello, everybody. How are we all doing? So, I'm currently sat around my best friend's house and we're recording a podcast, which is amazing. So, I've been wanting to do for so long. And I'm lucky that one of my friends, Craig, who is here, is also in the music industry and has provided us with some rather incredible equipment.
Pleasure. Pleasure's all mine, my buddy. I'm excited to be part of one of your projects finally.
Oh, it's good. It's good. Finally, we've found something we could do together.
Well, actually, we do the outdoor cooking occasionally.
We do the outdoor cooking.
Cameraman, audio, you name it.
We're gonna get him in front of camera soon as well. No. We'll just get someone else to video it. So yes, basically this is just a tester just to see how it all goes, and so Craig's known me for how many years? You know me?
Well, we met each other probably the best part of 20 years ago now, which
20
is
years.
disgusting.
Yes.
Yeah. So at Wickham Summit Ski and Snowboard Centre.
Oh, back in the day.
Many a friend, but it was a long time ago, and you basically supported my smoking habit.
I did. I encouraged cigarette smoking underage.
Yeah, it wasn't your most shining moment when
you look back on it. But, I think it forged our friendship going forward, because I just then moved into alcohol.
Yeah.
So, you know me.
I do. And I believe the idea of today is to let everybody else find a bit more about you.
Yes, I think it's weird having social media account when you don't really know what it's going to become. So to start off with, I started taking photos of my dinner, and people liked that. And then, it grew, and then I took some advice of going, front facing, which I've been doing for the last couple of years. And I think now it's time to sort of make it a little bit more about me, so you guys and girls get to see the person behind the account.
Well, I've got some questions for you.
Right.
And I've got loads, and I realise that I've not put them in any particular order. So it's all going to be a bit. Well, I mean, who knows what's going to come out?
What's this? Is it going to be like an interview?
Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to interview...
Like Michael Palin or...
I think of myself more of a Michael Barrymore. No. All right, well, the first thing I want to go into is you've been doing this a long time, and you are arguably the kind of person that can really rile someone up. And I want to know more about a memorable argument you've had with someone online. Wait, let me rephrase it. What's the worst thing someone has ever said to you online?
So I know exactly this, and I've mentioned it in the past actually to people that asked this, which is I got told to go kill myself because I fried an egg in a particular manner.
It's incredible.
Yeah, so this person spent their hard-earned energy and time going through from a private account, like a private page on Facebook, which I'd posted at, to finding my account, to then going into Messenger, to then messaging me to go kill myself because I didn't put a crispy bottom to my egg.
So why? What? Like, because obviously, like the egg can be quite a dividing subject amongst cooks and non-cooks.
Yeah, so, it's crispy bottom or no crispy bottom, which is the biggest question. And the other thing that which I found a weird observation, which I was speaking to a few other content creators the other day with, is that everyone's fine seeing deep fat fryers, fried chicken in a deep fat fryer. Everyone loves that, but when they see something shallow frying, they get a bit weirded out.
So what is shallow frying to me? That is where you put an inch of oil in a 12-pound frying pan from Tesco's.
Exactly.
See, I sympathise with those people 100% because I'm not doing that in my house. Probably because my mum would have killed me if I still lived with her and I did it in her house.
Now, it does smell, granted, but deep fat frying does as well. But it's more the perception. So when you see it on a video, I think because it's submerged or it looks... I don't know what it is, but people get grossed out by shallow frying from a health perspective as well.
Mm-hmm.
So it half submerged in oil is unhealthy, but if it's fully submerged in oil, it's not a problem. And it's purely a visual thing. I just think it's a really a good observation.
I've just been reminded of something in my past from shallow frying, which was, did you ever do Hazard Valley at school?
Yeah. You go there and
Hazard Valley, they were doing a shallow frying thing, and someone knocked it over and basically burnt down the whole street. So that's reason enough for me not to.
I think anything you do in the kitchen, you should always practice safe kitchen etiquette.
Yeah.
Shallow frying's absolutely fine. It's deep fat frying is dangerous.
Yeah.
So, people don't realize when you submerge something in oil, obviously volume, science and maths goes out the window, and so they'll have a big pan of oil, and then all of a sudden they've added something to it, and it overflows. And that's normally what starts a fire.
Right.
Oils are designed to be at quite high temperatures.
Yeah.
And shallow frying is absolutely fine. You're more likely to get burnt from shallow frying. But again, there's a temperature setting on your hob.
Yeah.
Most people don't use it. It's either hot or off. And there's other bits in between.
100%. Oh, I love that. Yeah. No, it definitely gives me the heebie-jeebies. I know that much. Moving on from that, like being in that public limelight and being open to criticism all the time, other than people telling you to kill yourself, have you had any really fun interactions that are memorable? Because I imagine most of them are quite nice, but there must be a couple that you're like, that was wicked. Like I did something for someone.
Anyone that recreates my recipe, I still get completely humbled by it. Like it's one of the best feelings in the world. Because, I generally am trying to create these recipes for people to reenact. And then when they do reenact it, and then they post about it, like it's a really, really nice feeling.
Yeah.
And, I'm on a little bit of a health kick at the moment. I've been doing some different lower calorie meals, and people have been recreating them, which has been amazing. Or I've been putting some gym selfies up, which is really uncomfortable for me to do.
I did see someone post a selfie of them in the gym, crediting you, which I think, even from an outside perspective, is a really nice thing to see. Like that you're having an impact on. That was like 3, 2, 1 and a bit go.
So sorry about that. One of the camera's batteries died, so the first stresses and strain that we've had from recording this.
Well, it's all part of making this into something fun, isn't it? It's like with all your projects at the moment, like you don't get it right first time. You keep on going, and then suddenly it is what it is, isn't it? So, online trends.
Oh yeah,
there's so many bullshit ones out there. How do you decide? Well, actually, that's probably wrong. There's not bullshit ones. There's so many ones that are not age appropriate, maybe for a 35-year-old man. And I wonder, how do you decide which ones you get involved with and which ones you don't? Like, I've not seen you dancing in your pants in the garden.
No, I dance predominantly in my kitchen. No, don't want to be doing that. But yes, so trends are really, I've got quite a lot of advice on trends. So I think if you're a food content creator, it's important to, trends aren't necessarily in line with what you're trying to create and what you're trying to get across. I think that if you're more of a personality, then yes. And I think it's also the platform as well. So TikTok trends work quite well if you're trying to create content like that. I think the important things with trends is to jump on them quickly and get off of them very quickly as well. So the problem is that brands have with doing trends is the process and the mechanics behind it. So a trend will be happening. That account manager will then submit that as an idea, wait a couple of days for it to come back, then they will do a proposal, and a trend can be lasting 24 hours. So then what happens is it finally gets approved. They can't backtrack on it.
Too late.
They end up creating the creative, and it's literally 2 weeks behind the trend, and it looks really, really embarrassing. And this is happening so much with brands and companies, especially on TikTok.
Is that the same on Instagram or Facebook as well?
So in my view, Instagram trends are about 3 weeks to 6 weeks behind TikTok, which is even more embarrassing because people are jumping on trends that have passed on another platform. That's really the competitor when it comes to video content at the moment.
I do remember, it's years ago. You probably know when it was, but I remember you being like, "Oh, there's this new thing called TikTok that's massive over in Asia," and I was like, "I'm sure, whatever." I 100% couldn't have been less interested, and you got on that really early, before I think anyone was really talking about it over here.
It's an interesting story, that, actually. So I was a hairdresser for 18 years, and I was a hairdresser up to just over a year ago. And how I got onto TikTok was I was cutting a gentleman's hair, and he turned around and was like, "Look, I've got a vested interest in Facebook. There's this rumblings around this like random social media platform out of China that could rock Facebook. Bearing in mind Facebook owns Instagram and WhatsApp. You know, maybe you should go and check it out." And I was like, okay, cool. So it'd just been rebranded, because it used to be called, what did it used to be called? Musical.ly. It'd just been rebranded into TikTok. There was no food creators. There was maybe 6 or 7 from the US, because it become Musical.ly was a little bit more popular in the US before. And I just started creating content. And do you know what was wonderful? It was one of my fondest memories of all this content creation I do, because when you build up a following on an account, what happens is that you kind of get typecasted, and you know the room to change your content type is quite small, and it will take quite a long,
ballsy move as well, isn't it?
Very, very ballsy. So when you join a new platform, you could be adventurous. I was trying all different types. I was putting music over it. I was trying to be funny. I was trying, and it didn't work. I was trying all of these different methods to try and get content going. And it wasn't until I realised that the crux of what TikTok is, and which a lot of people don't realise, is they see themselves as an education platform. And that was the birth of Proper British Dishes.
Of course, yeah. Which was a huge success for you, obviously.
Yeah. Like, I think the series got 26 million views all in all.
Good Lord.
Yeah.
Good Lord. And I remember, I don't know whether we can talk about it on this, but there were certain things that you were offered from that you've not done and stuff, and it like that must have opened up more doors than you ever dreamt it could have, from that conversation with someone in a chair, or in your chair, to being one of your main sources of income.
Exactly, yeah. I took a punt, and this is the thing, there was load of everyone, the amount of even emails I get now, which is like, we've launched the latest creator platform for whatever, you know.
And we get them all the time. Like, in the music industry, it's constant. Like,
but TikTok would have been one of them emails at some point.
Absolutely.
You know?
And that's the thing, like, I've started to not ignore those emails. Like, it's one thing I've definitely, through seeing your success with engaging in a new technology, and you've literally cultivated this beautiful business out of it, it's something that I now, when I do get those spam, what I always thought was spam, and I just think, well, read it, Google it. Like, it takes 2 minutes out of your time. You work out very quickly whether you're interested in it or not.
Yeah,
you should. Seems to be worth the legwork. Like,
yeah, you should always look into it. And like with TikTok as well, you had, and I think why TikTok was a success was the cash injection. Like ByteDance that own it, you know, they were $1 billion company anyway.
Yeah.
And this was the interesting thing with this, is it wasn't a startup. You know, they acquired it. They're a huge company in China. So then when, you know, normally Facebook would come along, bulldozer it, buy it, shelf it or whatever, they couldn't.
Yeah.
You know, like, I think TikTok's like 2001's marketing budget was over $1 billion.
Jesus.
You know, like, that is some serious money that so many companies would never dream of doing it.
That's crazy. But it's clear, I mean, once again, someone signed off on that and they've gone, oh, well, that worked.
Yeah, they had the funds. There's a lot of nuances. You had lockdown, people were bored, experimenting with new platforms.
I mean, I would hate to bring it up, but I'm going to have to say it. It's like, that was an absolute incredible time for social media and online people and online businesses.
Yeah.
Was that. And I mean, I don't know how much yours grew, because yours has been pretty consistent throughout your entire career in this.
Yeah, so I always refer to myself as a steady Eddie. Like, I've never shot to fame and fortune. I've been doing this nearly 9 years now. Might even be 9 years. So it's
9 years when? We'll have to do an Ollie Eats birthday.
Yeah, I think my first ever picture was of an Eggs Benedict. So I've been on social media for, like, doing hairdressing for quite a while. So I had an understanding of how social dynamics and social media worked. And then I wanted to create a personal account. But I ended up just taking a photo of my dinner and posting it, and then a couple more. And really bad time. It was like the week of my firstborn child, I decided to
really?
set up a social media account.
Good Lord.
I know.
Bit off more than you could chew on that one, I guess.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
To answer your question directly about the policy changes and stuff like that, this is the thing as well. Like, as a content creator, if you want to be a professional content creator, you need to approach it from a professional standpoint. You know, I, in my early stages and even now, I'm researching marketing, advertising, how to brand yourself, graphic design, videography, photography, copywriting. Like, this is really, really important stuff because you are an omni-channel and you need to do all of these things. This is why the birth of the content creator and the success of the content creator is for that reason. Brands would spend 4x what they're spending now if they had to outsource every single element. As content creators, we do it all. So, for instance, when I'm getting branded work in and I need to conform to like the high sugar, high salt, high fat content, you have to.
Yeah, there's no way around it.
There's no way around it. And, you know, and I think now the account's maturing and I've matured within what I'm doing now. Is I think I've now got a personal responsibility. I probably should have had a personal responsibility from the start. But now that sort of is kicking in now because I'm looking at furthering my own health and well-being, that we can't be pushing stuff that is bad for you, especially with the big accounts. Like, we need to have some sort of accountability of what we're promoting, and this is what these guidelines and policies are there for.
Do you know, maybe slightly off topic, but what happens if you don't adhere to their guidelines? Is it just straight like with YouTube? If you get a copyright infringement, it just
so you break it down. So you've got two different types of content. You've got branded content, so essentially what you're getting paid for, and you've got content that is your organic content that you want to create. Organic content, you've got a little bit more, you know, leeway of what you're creating, because you're not advertising something. But if alcohol, for instance, I work with a lot of alcohol brands and have done. They've got super strict guidelines that you need to adhere to, and it's important. Like, you can't show overconsumption. You can't show that you're getting enjoyment from alcohol on its own. You know, you talk about the flavor profiles. Like, these guidelines are there for a reason, and we're just a small spoke in such a massive machine. And we're just the content creator. The people that we're dealing with has much more of a bigger scope to deal with. So this is why what you have is when you do branded work, you have approval processes. So from initial couple of friendly emails, then a briefing document will be sent over and that will outline what you can and can't do. And then you create the content, you submit it for approval before posting it, and then they will then vet that piece of content. And then after that, you would post it.
So as like we're all surrounded by marketing stuff all the time. Now that you know what's behind the curtain as such, has it made you more aware of what you're buying into now? Or do you feel, knowing that information, you're a bit more like able to almost make your own decision, knowing that there are guidelines stopping people doing exactly?
Yeah, I think that the guidelines are there for a reason, but then also there is flexibility within that. And I think throughout history, marketing advertisers, their job is to push the boundaries of that. And I'm not talking about being irresponsible here, but there's some briefing documents that are so safe that just makes no sense to where the market's at, if that makes sense. And normally the bigger the brand, especially like global brands, play very, very safe with their creative. Yeah. But then you're going to get pretty boring, underperforming adverts. And that's the thing.
Because it's not pushing the grain.
It's not. It's. I think that the thing that brands need to do is do better vetting of what influencers and content creators they use, and then allow them to be creative after that point.
Yeah. No, well, yeah. I mean, the world would be amazing if everyone was just allowed to do what they want, though. Do you know what I mean? Like, if that was just like, oh yeah, we're going to use Sally that does that, and she just does her thing, and we pay her to do it. Like as a business owner myself, like I'd love to let the creative people that I work with just do their thing, but they still need to adhere to certain things of my business vision, I guess.
Yeah, and that's what the guidelines are for. And everyone, and this is the thing, like, and where it differs is, like I said, I'm a steady Eddie. I've been doing this for absolutely years now, and with that, I've worked with hundreds of brands. I kind of got an understanding of where those boundaries are. But you've got creators that are lovely and create amazing content, but they shoot very, very quickly. So they go from being like an average person to essentially an online celebrity nearly overnight.
Yeah.
And where I've been on that trajectory, I've learned all of the little bits throughout time and done little bits of here and there. They've gone from like making nothing to making thousands.
Well, I guess that also, as with bands as well, so it's the only thing I can relate to, it's a more loyal and organic following that will support you with your changes and with wherever you take the business. They're kind of going to be there one way or another.
Yeah.
So it works out as a better business model as well, to be a steady Eddie, as you say.
Yeah, I think that you don't have that super high level engagement that you get from people that are hype, that are blowing hot at that particular time, but you get a degree of safety, understanding, compliance. You get again, from being a professional with this as well, communication. So it's that balance, and I think this is what account managers in marketing, advertising, and influencer outreach, let's call it, need to have an understanding. There's going to be difference between, I think, where the industry's going is there needs to be a separation between influencer and content creator, and on your campaigns you need a combination of them both. You want that individual that will create pretty rubbish content, but just by being who they are will gain a mass following, and they will be able to direct your brand message to their audience. And then on the same campaign, use content creators for that aesthetically pleasing work, that the ones that will fit in with your key performance indicators. It needs to be like more of a holistic approach to your campaigns. Rather than just looking at numbers, it needs to be looking at the individuals behind the accounts and then creating like a puzzle on who you're using for these campaigns.
Nice. That makes sense. It certainly makes sense. I've got a question here about the amount you post. Like, I see you post quite a bit, but I also see that you live a life of creating content. So if you had to put a vague idea on it, how many hours in a day, or how many hours in a day are you creating content, and then how many posts are you aiming to do a day, a week, a month, or is it just natural? And
generally it's different. Each individual account operates differently. I know people that get great success from posting once or twice a week. I go off of the theory of post as much as humanly possible, and some things will stick and some things don't. For me, from an early stage, I had such a demanding job. I had to embed Ollie Eats into my lifestyle. At times detrimental to my family life and my work life, etc. But for me, being a food content creator, my theory was I need to eat 3 times a day. So that's 3 potential opportunities to create content. When you say like how many hours do I dedicate my life. Like I am permanently thinking of content. Permanently. Like if I'm not cooking, I'm researching. If I'm not researching, I'm thinking of concepts. Like we're sat here today doing a podcast, me and you have spent a load of times before this podcast thinking of ways of creating different content out of our own channels. Like it needs to become an obsession. Now, there's levels of obsession.
I think that's very true, actually. Like that word obsession is actually, it's paramount to the success or to drive your own business. To not have someone telling you need to do something.
My main mantra in life is that your efforts need to match your ambition. And that goes with whatever. And that's cool. Like, so if you want to be a casual content creator and just post your Sunday roasts, awesome, but own it.
Yeah.
And don't expect mass growth if you're just putting an image of your roast dinner up every Sunday.
Yeah.
Like, this is the thing. For me, I want growth. I want to be one of the best in the game. I want to learn and evolve and get better and better at all of the different aspects of the industry. So I have to put that amount of effort in because my ambitions are so high.
Love that. That is the perfect answer to a question I've got here about the perception of post a picture and suddenly 25,000 people like it. Bosh, move on to the next one. Someone's paying you for an advert or whatever. And that's great advice to a content creator and all of that stuff. So that's brilliant. I
just want to finish on that note that yes, everyone has got a different story, and everyone posts at different frequencies and stuff like that. yes, I'm a full-time content creator now, but I've posted, I think, 3,200 times.
Mm-hmm.
So that's 3,200 times I've created a recipe or gone to a restaurant or found a product. In the early stages, purchased it. In the later stages, worked with these brands. Like, that's the level that I'm operating at. And I'm now in a very privileged position to be able to do that as a full-time job. But a great sacrifice. You know, the hours I was working 50-hour weeks as a hairdresser, I would then come home, spend a little time with the family. That was important. And then I would then create content all night. It's just what I done.
Yeah. It's another question which that leads quite nicely onto is the way people see what some people of certain generations can see these as not real jobs. Like me working in the music industry, some people think it's not a real job and it's just a barrel of laughs and you just go around getting fucked up all the time or whatever. But is that something you're learning day by day, how to get better at dealing with when someone is just quite frankly rude about it? Someone that asks us stupid questions about, well, do you earn enough money, or like how do you kind of you do that and manage those kind of, or other people's expectations? Not that they matter, but they are inevitably going to be around you.
Yeah, it's quite surreal actually. Like, in so many other walks of life, you would never openly ask a stranger if they make enough money to pay the bills or feed their children.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's mad, but this is the thing: it's the nuances of the new industries. You've got social media content creators. You've got people that create content on other platforms like OF. Like, these are now industries.
Yes.
That you can make vast amounts of money on.
Mm-hmm.
But the perception of them not paying, I think the word influencer's got a bad name. I don't like it. That's why this podcast, you've heard me more refer to myself as a content creator than an influencer. But I think people got to realise is that we are just marketers and advertisers. Mm-hmm. That's it. We're just the guys. We're photographers and videographers. And it's interesting how you phrase it. You open up a dialogue with a stranger and say you're a photographer. They'll be like, oh, cool.
Yeah.
You know, you say you're an influencer or you do social media. They're like, oh, what do you do? Take a selfie.
Yeah.
You know, there is a lot of falseness in the industry. It's a very distrustful industry. And I totally agree. Like, a lot of bad things have happened. You've got a lot of untrained individuals within this industry. So regulation is probably something I would welcome.
You say about welcoming regulation. What aspect of it do you think needs to be welcomed? As in the way people get paid, or the way people are gone from zero to hero, or?
Well, there's a couple of things. How much everyone gets paid is very taboo subject matter in this, because again, it being it is an amateur industry. It's a new industry. Everyone's getting paid very, very different sums of money. Sometimes very different sums of money on the same job.
Mm-hmm.
And people, you know, agencies don't know how much to charge, because what is the return on investment on using an influencer? And I think this is where it stems from, is that people need to understand what they're wanting to achieve on social media. So these campaigns land on my lap, and some of them I even look at being like, what are you trying to achieve from this? Mm-hmm. And now, if that's unclear, you're doomed from the start, really. So it's understanding what you're trying to achieve, and then that trickles down. I think from regulation-wise, I think that, and again, another very taboo subject is taxation. You know, I fully am a limited company, and I declare everything through my business. Mm-hmm. Is that a common thing in my industry? No. And it's a controversial thing, me talking about it even on this, but I'm happy to, because I think, you know, people need to do. We've got nothing to hide, and there's there's obligations that we need to do in this world, and paying tax is one of them. It is wild. You could have someone getting paid 50 quid for a job, and on the same job, roughly the same sort of account, get paid 2,000 for a job. Like, it's all over the shop at the moment, and I think the only way it's going to happen is through transparency with the creators. So creators need to talk more, and in private, because it's such a...
See, that is where it kind of doesn't work as well, because in our industry, you can talk about it, and it's funny how open someone can be about things until they realise they're paid less than you.
Yeah. I think it's hard as well. Like, so for me, as soon as that email drops into my mailbox, and they ask, what's your fee? That's when the dance starts.
Yeah. That's when you start earning your money as well, isn't
Yeah.
it?
So they might just go, oh, how much is a TikTok? And I'll say X. But what I'd do as a professional, I've learned throughout time, is be like, what if I do 2 videos? Or what if I distribute across multi-channels?
Yeah.
All of a sudden, we're having a new conversation about what value I can bring to them. That means an increase in fees. So this is where it changes, because not every account's going to be the same level, engagement, professionalism, all of these types of things. So it's an area that needs discussion. I just personally don't know where that discussion is right now.
Yeah.
Biggest benchmark, my personal opinion on the biggest benchmark in content creators' sort of journey is hitting the first 10,000.
Love that. Well, Talking Touring is going to get to 10,000 this year, I've decided. That's my own little plug there in your podcast.
Yes.
Cool. You want to wrap it up?
I think so, yeah.
Go on in. Tell them how much you love them.
So, anyone that has listened to this to the end, thank you so much. It's been incredibly enjoyable recording it. I'd love to do more of this. I've got big plans for this podcast going forward, and I really want to thank Craig Leach Sounds.
Thanks, mate.
And your company is?
Oh, CLS Live. Yes, come check us out. We can do whatever you want, basically. No, we are a live event production company, dealing mainly in the touring world, mainly for bands and musicians. And we can do everything from your, everything logistical, basically. We can move you from wherever you want to be to wherever you want to go.
And you have a podcast as well, don't you?
Yeah, we got Talking Touring on the go. That's coming back this year, which is a podcast which is all about talking to rock stars about the ridiculous things they get up to.
That sounds very exciting.
It can be.
So
it can be quite depressing.
Oh, I know,
Yeah.
I bet. So for me, it's like, you lovely people, please let me know what type of content you would like to hear from this podcast. We just had a chat like we normally do here, but I want to interview people. I might do a flip and interview, Craig.
You can find me online at Ollie Eats.
Yeah, basically, if you see Ollie Eats or Eats Digital anywhere, follow me.
Yeah, there it is.